Hey guys, welcome to another installment of Tobi's Books, where we're going to be reviewing the book Good to Great by Jim Collins. This is my favorite business book ever. Good to Great is written by Jim Collins, and he explains why some organizations move from good to great. It can be business, it can be church, it can be any organization, but the key is, why did some make that leap and why did others not make that leap? In this video, I'm going to be actually sharing with you personal stories from my time as a teacher through some of the key points he's made. So point number one, all the companies which moved from good to great, they had a level 5 leader. What do I mean by a level 5 leader? A level 5 leader was a leader who was humble. They had a strong will and they were ambitious. Now, they weren't ambitious for themselves. They were ambitious for the company to succeed and achieve. So in some of the places I've worked in, they've had level 4 leaders. What is a level 4 leader? A level 4 leader is simply somebody who's charismatic. They are very smart, they're very intelligent. And what they do is they gather people around them who are able to do what they've asked them to do. So the people scurry around them like rats, and they do exactly what the level 4 leader has commanded them to do. There's only one problem, or there's actually a few problems with level 4 leaders, but one of them is whenever they leave organizations, they usually put another leader in charge who is not as strong as them. And the simple reason is, when that leader starts failing, that level 4 leader comes again and takes over the company, and they seem to make themselves great. Look what happened. This is why you need me again. And I've actually had a level 4 leader before in one of the organizations I worked in. This leader changed the organization. The organization was failing, and then the leader made the organization good. However, one of the things that happened is the leader took a bit of a break. And the people who the leader had appointed underneath them were not that strong. They were scared of making decisions. Instead of them being able to take charge and decide this is the best course of action, they were paralyzed. There was a paralysis of analysis. They didn't know what to do. And then when the leader came back, it was, yes, look what I've done. Now I'm going to bring this organization back up. But that is not what the good to great companies had. They had a leader who was a servant, who wanted the company to excel, to become great again. And so point number one is, any organization which is going to move from good to great, they need to have a level 5 leader. One who's going to put everything up, who's going to give up everything so that the organization succeeds. They're not thinking about themselves. They're not trying to hold themselves in high status or high standards or high regards. No, they put in the organization and the company first. If that organization and company succeeds, then they also succeed, and they know that. So point number one is, be a level 5 leader. Point number two, first who, then what? What does Jim Collins mean by this? He simply means that you first need to get the right people in your organization, then decide where you're going to take the organization. Too often people decide, this is where I want to take the organization. Let me get people to come in and work for me. No, that's the wrong way of doing it. You first want to have the right people working around you, working side by side with you, then choose, this is where you want to take the organization. I heard of a story in one organization where they employed somebody. However, that person later decided not to take the job. So this organization panicked and quickly called up their second candidate, even though they knew the second candidate was the wrong person for the job. And I was actually told this by one of the interviewers. They told me that they knew this person was wrong for the job, but because the first person had decided not to take the job any longer, they needed to fill the position. The only problem was, a year and a half later, the person they had given the position to later resigned because they had caused a big mistake in the organization. Now, am I blaming the person for making this big mistake? No, I'm actually saying that the organization made the wrong choices because they were concerned about filling a position. It's not about filling a position, it's actually about employing the right people in your organization so that your organization can move from good to great. So point number 2 is first who, then what. Point number 3, and my final point, is confront the brutal facts. In the book Good to Great, Jim Collins says that companies which move from good to great, they confronted the brutal facts. They looked at all the data and said, where are we actually as a company? They didn't think, where do we want to be? We're the greatest company. No, they decided to start where they are currently. What is your current reality? Then they decided, what do they want the company or the organization to be? Too often we have a culture of over-exaggerating. We're the greatest company. We do this the best. No, that's not always true. The companies which actually had an impact said, this is where we are. This is where we want to be. But in order to get there, we need to take certain steps and certain actions. But first, we need to acknowledge our current reality. He tells the story of a POW, a prisoner of war, who was in prison for up to 10 years. And he was liberated by the USA. And people asked him, how did you survive this? And he had one answer. He actually confronted the brutal reality. He said, this is where I am. He knew he wanted to get out. He knew that's not where he wanted to be, but he just acknowledged his situation. This is where I am in life. However, I have a hope, a goal, a desire that one day I'll be free. Too often people just have a goal, a hope, a desire, but they don't confront the brutal facts. Their minds are somewhere else. But no, that cannot be the same for the good to great companies. They confronted the brutal facts. They realized where the company was, even when the company looked like it was going to fall apart. And then they decided, how can we get to where we want to be based on where we are? So point number 3 is confront the brutal facts, but also realize where you want to go to in the future. Hey guys, so I'm just thinking that there's so much of this book that I've not shared with you, and I was also thinking in myself, have I actually done this book justice? It's actually my favorite business and leadership book. There's so many principles and key points. If you are a leader in any organization, you need to purchase this book, Good to Great by Jim Collins. It will take your organization to the next level. If you work in a school, if you work in the library, I don't care where you work, it will take your thinking and your life to the next level. So purchase the book, Good to Great. Hey guys, thank you for tuning in to another installment of Tobi's Books. Hope you enjoyed the key themes from the book, Good to Great. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and also share with 5 people. I'll see you next week where I will be reviewing the book Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin.